biggest issue that plagued the previous leader. The calls have been mounting to sell off the province's fleet of aircraft, and today, Jim Prentice provided his answer. Serena Ma with the story.
A second to acquaint himself with a new room.
Good morning.
And right down to business.
Governments, however, do not necessarily need to own airplanes to access the province.
The government fleet now up for sale. Effective immediately, all ministers are now told to fly commercial.
The philosophical decision has been made that the Alberta government does not need to be in the business of owning and operating an airline.
It's the first decision made by the new Premier and the newly appointed cabinet, and according to voters we spoke to, essential.
It was an issue for the government and a big one, and people were focused on it.
Former Premier Alison Redford came under fire for her expensive trip to South Africa. Her costly travel habits further highlighted by a damning report by the Auditor General. The investigation described an aura of power in the Premier's office and several instances of wasted taxpayers' dollars, including the misuse of the government airplane to PC party events.
There will be no ministers, government representatives flying on government planes to partisan events on my watch. It will not happen.
He had to show Albertans that things were going to be different. Obviously, he felt that this was such an emotionally charged issue that had plagued the party for so long that you immediately end the debate.
Or has it?
I think they should fly commercially. Why should they get to own their own airline?
Is it enough to distance himself away from the previous government?
I don't think it's enough, but it's a start.
Serena Ma, CTV News, Edmonton.
The fleet of 4 planes costs nearly $10 million a year. The province says the figure this fiscal year will be well below the budgeted $7 million. The damage control also underway as Jim Prentice tries to still the waves around one newly appointed cabinet minister. Gordon Dirks, taking over the education post, is facing criticism for past ties to a church that has been critical of the gay community. Brianna Karsten-Smith reports.
Mr. Prentice's appointment of Gordon Dirks to Education Minister is inappropriate.
It's a statement echoed by some in the public after Premier Prentice appointed the new minister.
I, Gordon Edwin Dirks, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Education.
Critics worried about one of Dirks' previous jobs, pastor at Center Street Church in Calgary.
Jesus says he will come and fight against those who engage in sexual sin.
Their website lists the church's stance on homosexuality, saying God is dishonored by such relationships. But no homophobic quotes have come directly from Dirks.
I have been involved in a church, and there are many, many different people in that church that would come from a wide variety of backgrounds.
It's whether his beliefs will affect young LGBT children in the school system. That had Dr. Christopher Wells nervous.
Well, I certainly asked for the meeting because, there were some concerns over cabinet appointments.
But soon after the concerns were made public, Premier Prentice called a meeting with Wells and the new minister.
I have a commitment from the minister that he's going to work with the LGBT community on educational issues that are of concern.
As Minister of Education, that's my number one priority, my number one concern, to make sure that children are protected in our schools, and I absolutely am devoted to that.
It's that promise Dr. Wells hopes the minister keeps, or he too will be asking for Dirks to resign his new portfolio. Reporting from the legislature, Brianna Karsten-Smith, CTV News.